Hey friends, welcome to episode 9 of Maximizing doTERRA's Compensation Plan. Super excited to be with you again. Super excited for our guests. We have John Jensen and Melina Harrison with us again. 2 repeat visits. Thanks for coming back.
Hey, happy to be here. Excited.
Okay, we're talking about a foundational element of doTERRA's compensation plan. This has been like the core of everything since the beginning, and that's the Unilevel. Okay, now we've had some enhancements in the compensation plan. We've been talking about them over these last few weeks, well, last few months actually, and Unilevel's had a little bit of a tweak, but really not a ton. But I want to make sure our audience understands why our Unilevel is so awesome, even before we get into those enhancements. Like why is our Unilevel the bomb diggity in comparison to maybe what else might be out there?
Yeah, so I think one of the most powerful things about our Unilevel is you look at where the highest percentages are.
Yes.
And where are the highest percentages? In the depth.
In the depth. That's right.
And if you think about how somebody's organization is shaped and where the most people are, it's not right next to you. It's not on your front line. It's as you get deeper into your organization, there's more people, and that's where you want the biggest Unilevel percentages to live.
That's right.
And that's where ours are.
Yeah. And so funny because so many companies actually do the opposite. Because on paper, it's more appealing, right?
It's faster.
And it's faster, and it puts those bigger numbers up top, and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. But having lived this, right? Could you imagine if it was flipped?
No
It would be
way.
devastating.
I mean, it's the same amount for the company, whether they're paying it on
That's
the top
right.
or the bottom. So I would like more money on more people versus more money on the levels with less people.
That's right. Exactly.
Math. Unilevel was actually the thing that was most enticing to me when I became a wellness advocate, because I mean, on other things that I've done, like I'm a massage therapist, but I only get paid when someone's on my table. And I looked at Unilevel and I thought, okay, this is something where I can have a lot of impact and create something and work with many people. And then I'm getting paid a little bit on what a lot of people do versus just, what I do alone. And I love that aspect of the Unilevel is the more people we work with and the more we're duplicating and driving that growth, we're able to grow that Unilevel. And it's the largest part of our income as we get into those higher ranks even.
That's right. And in the beginning, it's not the largest part of our income, right? In fact, it's very, very small. I think my very first Unilevel check was like $14 or something like that, right? So exciting, right? But it starts small and then can grow as the team grows and more customers are onboarded and all of that. And we have, of course, dynamic compression is still part of our Unilevel, which it always has been, which allows for maximum compensation to everyone.
And that's pretty unique,
huge
right?
win.
With doTERRA,
Yes.
most companies take that breakage and
That's right.
just keep it within, for the company. But doTERRA still pays the exact same amount with dynamic compression. It just goes to the next person that qualifies. I think that's really beautiful thing about doTERRA that I'm not sure people always understand.
Yeah. I know our friend Lil Shepherd, she has been like the Unilevel advocate from day one, that it's all about the Unilevel, all about the Unilevel, all about the Unilevel. And she's proven that out in having the most consistent growing Unilevel like in the history of doTERRA. And because she focuses there, right? And recognizes that that's where you get paid largely.
Yeah.
So powerful. Now, we mentioned there's some enhancements, right, to the Unilevel happening. The first one is that first level. So on level 1, there was a 2% payout. Woo-hoo. 2%.
Yeah.
John, tell us what's happened with that 2%.
Yeah, so as we've analyzed this, we've recognized that 2% really wasn't paying much to anybody. Like it was maybe enough to pay for a lunch, but probably not. And so we thought that 2% is actually a lot of money, but not to specific individuals. So Is there a way that we could better utilize those funds? And that's kind of where we came up with this concept of being able to add this back into the power of 3 through a boost, and being able to create additional income opportunity on that same volume.
So we've reallocated, basically just moved that to fund the boost, which is more rewarding.
Yes.
In most cases, right, than what we were getting before.
So basically with this 2% added, now people have an opportunity to earn up to $100 through the Power of 3 and the Power of 3 boost.
Awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be so much more rewarding for people for their efforts, on building their front line. So very, very cool. So Melina, in the new enhancements that are rolling out, there's a new qualifier that's been introduced called team growth volume. And in an episode of this podcast, we dive into really what that is and what it means and how it works. So we won't do that right this second. But there's a reason that we've implemented that requirement into the Unilevel to unlock those 2 deepest levels of pay for people. What is that reason?
Well, really, we're looking at what's going to drive the behavior. And there's so many things as wellness advocates we can focus on in doTERRA. And sometimes we get lost and we're working really hard, but maybe not with the correct focus to really have the impact that our Unilevel can. It's kind of like my son. He's a sophomore and he plays hockey. And he'll easily spend 2 hours a day shooting pucks and doing that, but then forget about his homework. And I have to remind him, well, you can't play in your tournament. There's a requirement. There's a requirement that you meet a grade level average for you to play. And there's different requirements put in place for him there because we know that practicing hockey 2 hours a week is not going to do that long-term success of passing all your classes, graduating, and other things like that. And it's the same with doTERRA. We want to help people look at the metrics that are going to drive a more impactful Unilevel for them so that they're paying attention and putting the work into the correct places and the correct habits.
Yeah, and that's so powerful. I think of conversations that I've had with leaders in the past where they would see that their organizational volume increased from the previous month, but their paycheck decreased, and they would sometimes reach out and ask why. And as we looked at that, we've found situations where they were focusing so much on growing below their 7 levels, even past the dynamic compression, to where their organizational volume may have grown, but their pay level didn't increase because they were focused too deep. So I do love that. Focusing on the places that will help increase your check, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is exactly what this allows to happen, right? It allows that foundation because really the Unilevel is the long game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we have all these other great bonuses and pools and Power of 3 and Fast Start and all of that's wonderful. The long game is the Unilevel. That's the foundation. So
Exactly.
awesome. Well, thank you both for being here for this episode. It's been a pleasure, as always, and we're super excited for what's coming and super excited for all this growth and momentum and the dynamic that is unrolling before us. It's going to be amazing.
It will be.
So, thank you.